Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. Coming soon, I'll be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 183. Today's working title is Before Everything Has a Home, It Has to Earn One. Whew. I opened up my podcast script document, yes, I have one of those, over the weekend to prepare to record today. And it had been a full month since I had added new content to that document. Wow. So thank you for your patience and your support in my family's recent difficult times. But today I am truly glad to get back to writing and to recording for all of you. Recently, I was scrolling social media on my phone and I stopped to watch a video from a content creator. She was strongly advocating for everything in our homes to have a home. And hey, I totally agree. And if you like this type of content too, I know for me, it's just so satisfying to watch people put things away. I'm sure that's just me, maybe not, but I do love it. The items in our homes do need a home so we can create order quickly out of seeming chaos. Love it. And it is calming to watch, at least for me, and I'm sure others, so that we can put them away. We put them away to protect the item, to give us clear spaces in our homes, and so we can find an item again when we need to use it again. But even when mindlessly scrolling, my organizer brain stopped and reminded me that she and we all need to ask a few more questions about our stuff before deciding where in our home our items will have a home. The important first question as we review our stuff is, does this item earn a spot in our home? And then we decide where the home is for that item. The definition of clutter is anything we don't need, use, or love. We first need to review our stuff and determine if it's important to our lives because we need it, and we use it, and we love it. If an item is not clutter, if it passes that test, and we do need it and use it and love it, then yes, it gets to stay, and yes, we need to assign it a home. However, only focusing on finding homes in our home for all of our things, that is not actually organizing. It is a step in the process, but only one. You're not fully organized if you only have an away for things. So let me get specific. I completed a very satisfying project with a client in a linen closet last week. And actually, she sent me before and after pictures this morning. And so great. Truly satisfying. And this client was not the example that I'm going to give here. I just needed to say that because last week's client is a listener, but her project did remind me of this other project. So years ago, I worked with another lovely client who very proudly showed me a large, broad hall closet with accordion doors. The closet had 6 shelves, approximately 8 feet wide, so we are talking 48 linear feet of storage, and it was filled to capacity with towel sets. The towels were color-coded and grouped together by set, and they were folded similarly to create a very soothing visual. This client was very happy, very proud of this, and it was lovely to look at. However, this particular client lived alone. She had 2 bathrooms. She had guests regularly, but also had time to do laundry between visits. And she was also struggling to find storage space for other items, even related items like sheets and blankets. So yes, her towels have a home and they were lovely to look at, but I had to ask, is it too big of a home dedicated to this many duplicates? And the answer, of course, was yes. Yes, these particular things had a home, but the necessary editing needed to happen immediately. So we had to ask, do they all earn a home? And so think about your own home or work. What are those items for you? What items need to earn a home? As I write this, I recall an even earlier client experience when a client had turned 2 coat closets near the kitchen into pantries. She asked me to come in ahead of getting the house ready to sell to help her get started on purging. She, like all of my clients, was a great person and had stocked up and even overstocked on food items out of a desire to take care of her family, to be frugal and take advantage of a good deal on groceries, etc. All good things, truly. But she had purchased items more quickly than her family had consumed them, and now we really needed to dig out of that backlog. Regrettably, there were items that were well sorted and categorized and nicely displayed in her pantry closets, but they were all also now well past code, and we couldn't feed long expired foods to people. So in terms of selling the house, having that many pantries might make it appear that the kitchen didn't have enough storage for kitchen things. So we needed to turn them back into coat closets. Everything had a home, but she had not asked that first question as she had stocked up. Did these items earn a space in her home? Did she need them? Would she use them? Did she love them? Having a home for an item may not be enough to redeem it, to keep it from being clutter. As we assign homes to our stuff, what if we only kept what we truly need, use, and love? We make the decision on our current items, on which items can stay, and also which items are clutter and need to leave. And we consider this question before we even start consuming from now on. That sounds great, at least to this organizer. And then the next step, of course, is once we decide an item can stay and needs a home, then we have to ask ourselves where. Where do we keep it? More than 60% of the population are strong visual learners. Recall, I know I've talked about this before, all of us are a blend of learning styles. So we've got visual, auditory, verbal, and kinesthetic. And visual is strong in a majority of the population. For some people, that means they need to see their important items in front of them. That is how being a strong visual learner shows up for them. For other visual learners, seeing everything in front of them all the time is overwhelming and overstimulating. And yeah, that's me. Can you tell? And therefore, having their items put away is very helpful because it's less overwhelming when stuff has a home. And they can gently close the cabinet on those things, right? All of that is very helpful. And here's the real trouble, I guess, is that we can all be both of those types of visual learners, depending on the item and the situation. So our stuff has earned a home either in front of us or behind a door or in a drawer, etc. It is a sticky situation for sure. So I want to share a related idea that can help you answer does this item earn a spot in my house? And then where is that spot? Where is that home in my home for this item? So consider form and function. Form is the physical form of an item, obviously, but also for today, the aesthetics of an item. And function is how an item functions, what service it provides to you, how you use it, etc. And as we ask the question of, does this item earn a spot in our home for both our current stuff and also new things coming in, please consider form and function both. The goal is to have good form and good function. The goal is to have both, but you may not always get both. And in some areas of our homes, function needs to win. And what I mean by that is organization needs to win over having everything in a pretty basket or an aesthetically pleasing array or color-coded anything. So some areas of your home go for form, I know, but from an organizing perspective, we got to stick with function. So form and function together, that's great, but function needs to win when it comes to being organized. Let me give another example. And I guess I am all about client examples today. And they are all nondescript enough examples that my clients' identities are safe. I worked with a client long ago who had this really cool old wooden cabinet in her office, like an old apothecary cabinet or library card catalog kind of cabinet. It looked so interesting, and she really loved the piece. However, she had to cut every piece of paper in her office, every piece of paper that she owned, down to fit in the drawers, instead of storing something other than paper in the drawers or finding a different place to store her paper. She was really committed to this item form that didn't actually function the way it needed to. So instead of heeding to function, she bowed to form and added a whole lot of work to her schedule, as she was also running her own business at the time. And hey, who has that kind of time? So this is just an example of bowing to form over function with less than organized results. As an organizer, I have been asked to Insta, and I'll put that in quotations. So Insta a pantry, as in make it Instagram photo ready. I said no. I will organize a space like a pantry for function, and I can also make it lovely for form, but the function has to come first. A favorite client paid a lot of money to have another service provider come in and Insta her pantry, and it is lovely. Every basket on the shelf matches, and the space is bright and airy and ready for Instagram-worthy photos. True. Good for her. However, in that process, there was not the consideration of how my client and her family use the space. The pantry is beautiful for certain, but there was a box of leftover food and accessories that didn't fit back in the space that they handed to her as they left. So form led the process, not function. The challenge when form leads the process instead of function is that we're left needing to change our habits and workflow or cause ourselves extra work chasing after items that we have deemed worthy of a space in our home, but perhaps are not where we will actually use it or need it. To recap, yes, our stuff needs a home in our home. We need to be able to put our things away, to protect them, to find them again, to use them again, and to restore order in our spaces. But before we purchase an item and then assign a home to our things and put them away, we first need to ask, does this item earn a home in our home? And if it does, as we consider the where the home needs to be, consider form and function. Of course, we want items and spaces that are both functional and aesthetically pleasing in form, but in organizing, function needs to lead. As you tackle home or organizing projects, make sure to consider these two ideas as you make your decisions. Support around getting organized and getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.